This is Donna Mullins. I'm the president of the League of Women Voters, and I'm here to welcome you to this really great event. We expect it's going to be very interactive. It was put together by our environmental group, and the group, I have to tell you, they've been doing this for months. They're very excited. They've gone forwards and backwards and upside down to do an entertaining thing for you. And right now, what I want to do is introduce the co-chair of the environmental advocacy group, known as EAGERS. Elaine Fishoff is one, and now I'm going to introduce you to Ellen Link, whose name you see, but video you do not.
Hello, and welcome from the League's Environmental Advocacy Group. We're always asking ourselves what we could or should be doing to protect the environment, and especially now to address the climate emergency. So we decided back in June that having a program that could inform and maybe even inspire our members and others as to how we can all reduce our use of fossil fuels would be the best thing to do now. It would be based on the Citizens Climate Commitment created by tonight's speaker that we presented in the June Capitol voter. We said then we can't wait until 2030, 2040, or 2050 to start eliminating our use of fossil fuels. Many of the decisions we make today, including purchasing vehicles and home appliances and equipment, will still be having an impact 10, 15, or 20 years from now. Guiding us on this road tonight is John Sarver, who will be talking about making wise energy decisions. John Sarver was a program director in the Michigan Energy Office for 35 years, where he worked on energy efficiency and renewable energy programs and policies. He has a master's degree from U of M Ford School of Public Policy. John serves on the board of directors of the Great Lakes Renewable Energy Association and the Meridian Township Environmental Commission. Some of you might know John from attending a solar demonstration or webinar in the Lansing area. He also used to be a member of our committee. So please welcome John Sarver.
Well, thank you, Ellen. And we're going to talk about addressing climate change tonight, electrify everything. Some of you may have heard of that concept, and but it's fairly new, and it's something that we're working on in Meridian Township. I know City of Ann Arbor is also working on it. So today's talk, we're going to talk about 100% renewable electricity, carbon neutrality, electrify everything. When I say that, I mean buildings and transportation, and how and when to do it.
I have a poll for you now, John. How about, would you tell me whether or not you believe that climate change and planet warming is being caused by human activity? Well, let's see. So we have 86% said yes, and 1% said a little bit, and 2 people said mostly. How about that?
Well, that's pretty overwhelming, carbon neutrality, and there's a lot of organizations, the auto industry, cities, state of Michigan have committed to carbon neutrality. As you can see by this slide, that Ann Arbor has the most ambitious goal of 2030. But then we have General Motors, Consumers Energy, the Board of Water and Light are all looking for carbon neutrality by 2040. And by 2050, we have Ford Motor Company, DTE, and the state of Michigan. Now, one thing about carbon neutrality to keep in mind is that it is very different than 100% renewable energy. Carbon neutrality doesn't necessarily mean it's carbon free, because there's a number of organizations that may buy carbon credits that might be trees planted in another area, or renewable energy certificates, wind farms from another part of the country. But overall, it would be neutral. And so that's the idea, that there would be completely carbon free if you think in terms of neutrality, and having some credits from maybe other parts of the country. Now, why electrify now? The state of Michigan, the electric grid is moving to 100% renewable sources for electricity. A lot of wind and a lot of solar. We've had before hydro and wood burning power plants. Right now, it's only 11% in Michigan, but it is changing and moving in the right direction. Well, why not wait? Okay. I think we need to start moving to electrifying transportation and buildings now, because basically all of us are making long-term investments today. We buy a furnace, a hot water heater, air conditioner, you know, these appliances are going to last 15, 20 years. And so that gets us to 2040. So it kind of puts us in position to kind of help our communities get to that carbon neutral world. And a big factor too is that this whole idea of talking about this is so people can start doing the necessary research. Because when your furnace or hot water heater dies, you don't usually have a lot of time to do research. What you want to do is get your hot water back and get your heat back as soon as possible. So we're encouraging everybody not to replace an existing furnace or hot water heater that's working fine, but to kind of do the research so that if it does die at some point, that you're ready to go and you've kind of decided which way, which type of appliance you want to replace your existing one with. And we want you to look into electric alternatives. Trends in power generation. Coal is going out quickly. Coal is going to be out by 2030. Nuclear is carbon free, you know, but it's very expensive. Natural gas is cheap now, but you know, there's no reason to think the prices aren't going to go up. And at the same time, wind and solar power, the costs are continuing to go down in price. And we have more and more storage and demand management, which will help deal with the variability of wind and solar power. As you can see by this chart, wind and solar now are the cheapest sources of power generation. As I mentioned in the previous slide, nuclear is pretty pricey. Even coal is too expensive. That's a new coal power plant. Natural gas is still competitive at $59 a megawatt hour. But as you can see, wind and solar have become really the least cost sources of new power generation. What's happened at the same time is that batteries are getting cheaper to kind of help with the variability of wind and solar. The wind doesn't always blow, the sun doesn't always shine. And so storage and batteries is a prominent type of storage. As you can see, the prices have continued to go down, which is very good, because we're talking about clean energy sources like solar and wind now, and we're talking about batteries that can help with the variability. Right now in Michigan, renewable energy is still, like I mentioned, about 11%, but you can see what's happened over time. We've had hydroelectric for a long time, and it hasn't really changed much in recent years. Wood and wood-derived fuels haven't changed a lot. Wind power, wind farms in the Thumb, Gratiot County, other parts of the state have become the dominant source of renewable energy. And as you can see, in 2016, we're starting to see more solar. And solar has started to get into the bar graph, and that will increase substantially in the future. Now, one thing that's interesting is there's a lot of people have looked at what is our renewable energy future going to look like? Can we get to 100%? some very smart people at Stanford University kind of looked at all the various states and a lot of countries around the world. And I thought it was interesting what they came up with for Michigan in the year 2050, 100% renewable sources for electricity. And there's a lot of, as you can see, 31% offshore wind, 40% onshore wind, solar 27%, and then a little hydro and wave. I personally kind of think that solar will be a bigger piece of the pie when we get to 2050, but there's no doubt that offshore wind will probably play a future role in our electric mix by the time we get to 2050. Now, this is Consumers Energy's Integrated Resource Plan. This is the plan, what they expect to have for their sources for electric power. And as you can see, it's steadily increasing with respect to renewable energy. So yeah, it's 11% now, but all of a sudden we're going to 35%, 47%, 49%, and up to 63% in 2040. So that's why we want people to start thinking about, when they make choices, to think in terms of electric alternatives, because increasingly the electric grid is going to become more renewable. And the same thing can be said for the Lansing Board of Water and Light. You know, if we look at 2020, oh boy, a lot of coal, 69%. But we go ahead 10 years, now we're talking about wind is 11%, solar is 42%, and then natural gas is 47%. And so whether you're a Consumers Energy customer or Lansing Board of Water and Light, if you switch to an electric alternative, you're getting rid of 100% natural gas for your furnace or water heater, and buying into electric generation that is going to have a significant and increasing amount of renewable energy. Well, electrify vehicles and homes. Why now? Again, it's long-term investments. Again, your water heater breaks, your furnace breaks. You don't have a lot of time typically to kind of do research. And so we'd like people to kind of start thinking about electric alternatives.
Well, hold on, John. We've got a little question about electric cars, okay? So have you ever ridden in an electric car? Oh, look at that, look at that, look at that. Oh no, we have no's? I'll give you a ride. Oh, we got 5, hey, free rides. Oh, it's so much fun. Okay, 19 to 24, I think we're gonna stop and give you 10 more seconds here. 20 of 24, and then we have some shy people, I can tell. Okay, so look at that, 14 have and 6 haven't, those poor souls. So, you know, call me and I'll do that for you. Okay, great.
Hey, thank you, Donna. I may take you up on that offer. Because I've been looking into the Tesla Model 3, so.
Oh, well, absolutely. Hey, John, you're on.
Okay. Well, you know, we have a climate action plan in Meridian Township. And so we've decided, in order to kind of get people to think about electric alternative, to come up with a citizens climate commitment, which is, as you can see, recognizing that climate change is an emergency. I make a citizens climate commitment that I will make energy efficiency a personal priority. Always energy efficiency is at the top of the list. And when I replace my vehicle, furnace, hot water heater, stove, yard equipment, or clothes dryer, or if I build a new home, I would consider electric alternatives to help my community become carbon-free by 2030. So we're not asking people to go out right now and, you know, replace their furnaces or cars. We're asking you to kind of, at the time that it makes sense to replace it, to consider the electric alternatives.
Here's a sample of the of one of the commitments. So plug it into the future, and heat pumps, geothermal heating and cooling, electric clothes dryers. Look at all these things, and we're going to be talking about a lot of them and showing them. You can bring up your screen now, John.
Yes, we're talking about the
Whoops.
Well, there we are.
There we are. And I made a mistake, but I didn't push my share thing. Isn't that unprofessional of me? Okay. There we go. So all these things, we'll be talking about all these things. Okay, John, it's up back to you.
Oh, I need some help. Oh, okay, here we go. We'll get there again. Oh, here we are. Okay. Yeah, we're talking about considering a lot of things that now use gasoline and natural gas and thinking about the electric alternatives, as you just saw from the chart. And I'll talk about each of these individually. And then we have some videos and kind of other speakers that will kind of elaborate. Well, gasoline vehicles to electric vehicles.
John, what I'm seeing is your first slide.
Oh, okay. Okay, I'm gonna, let me try that again. I was, okay.
There you go.
Whoops.
Yeah, go back to electrify vehicles and homes.
Okay, okay, here we go. This is the next slide.
No, the next one, go one before.
Yeah, we're going to talk about a variety of gasoline and natural gas appliances and equipment that you can convert. As you can see, we're talking about electric vehicles, electric ovens with induction stove tops, heat pump water heaters or electric on-demand water heaters, either air source or geothermal heat pumps, and electric dryers, and electric models of yard equipment.
And we're wondering what people own already here. So how many people own any of these items? It's going to take a little longer for you to do. Well, electric ovens, water heaters, battery energy storage. Wow, I'm impressed. Whoa, a lot of people have electric ovens. Boy, quite a bit. And I'm gonna share the results with you so you can see how many. And then I've got a list of some outdoor equipment too, okay? How about the outdoor one? Do you own any of those things? Okay, solar panels, yay. My solar panels are in the solar panel park. Wow. Okay. Oh, I love my electric snowblower. I bet you do too. I'm saving all that money on getting it all tuned up every winter. Let's look at this. Let's see what people have. Look at that. A lot of people use the electric weed whacker. It's so much easier than that stupid cord, isn't it? Electric is the way to go. Okay, John.
Well, electric vehicles, boy, they're becoming pretty popular these days. That's a picture of the Tesla Model 3. But there's a lot of different models now available, and boy, a lot more are coming from all the major manufacturers. You can save on fuel. Electricity really is less expensive than gasoline, and so median annual savings is about $770. And a big thing for EV owners is maintenance. There's not as much to maintain. And so it's estimated that you can save $1,500 over the life of the vehicle. There's rapid and smooth acceleration. Low center of gravity improves handling and responsiveness, and they're quiet, which, I think is a real plus too.
John, I think somebody wants to brag about their car.
Hi, I'm Donna Mullins, and I am here to introduce you to Sophia, my almost three-year-old Tesla. She'll be 3 in a couple weeks, and we're going to big party is planned. And the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to show you this engine. The engine in this incredibly powerful car. I can go 0 to 60 in 4.2 seconds. I leave Maseratis in the dust. Okay, so right here, I'm going to open up the engine. Where'd the engine go? No, there is no engine. There's a motor between the axles. Okay, I have 2 motors, one for the front and one for the back, so it's all-wheel drive. What is in this little section here, if there's a little thing that it has to do with the only maintenance I have had to complete in 3 years in this car, and that is to put windshield fluid in it. That's it. It's an incredible car. It gets I have a 300-mile range, and it's updated continuously. It's just an incredible car. I can have a longer range than I had when I started the car. The car is more powerful, and now I actually have the beta self-driving item. It's just fantastic. But what I'm going to do is close this carefully so as not to disturb anything, and I'm going to take you into the car and I'll show you exactly how it works. People get confused over this handle, but you just put your thumb there and it opens. Great. Okay, meet me inside. Hi, here I am now inside of Sophia, and believe it or not, she's already running. You can't hear anything, but let's put her in gear and see if you can hear anything. So there she goes forward, and there she goes backwards, and you hear nothing. So the car is perfectly silent. When you're driving, the only thing that you hear is the tire noise and on the pavement and the wind. And when I'm in a gas powered car, it's really loud. And let's just look at the screen, and you can see things. There's always it starts the map on the right and has the car with different directions, and there's all kinds of things to know. And I'm just going to quickly go through this so you can see what it has. There's a place that gives all these fantastic things that I can change. And yes, I had to read the manual 5 times. There's lots of different music available, streaming, Spotify, karaoke, all kinds of things. There are, but that's the rear camera, which is just an extraordinary rear camera. It actually sees to the side. There's I have the ability to play games, and I have the ability to do silly little things with this car. And one of the things that's kind of fun is this is the air, okay, and you can change where the air is going with your finger, and you can do it on either side. So it just so much for comfort. It's a wonderful car. So let me I just want you to know, I'm going to turn off the fan here. This car has cost me only windshield fluid. It is gets the equivalent of 125 miles per gallon. There's absolutely no emissions, and it is, as I said before, it is a better car than when I bought it. I get updates every a couple of times a month, and it's just an extraordinary car. So that, in short, is an introduction to Sophia. There are plenty of other electric cars out there. They're not quite as cute as Sophia, but they are also zero emissions, and they also need next to nothing in maintenance. Okay, good to meet you. Go.
Hi, I'm Val Lafferty. I'm going to show you my electric bike for recreation and for some maybe light shopping even. This is a battery that you can take out. You take it in the house and plug batteries built right into the bike, and then you charge it in the garage, but they're sensitive to temperature, so you have to keep it out of the cold and the heat. So turning it on, there's a dashboard that comes up, and it's called pedal assist. So it goes from 1 to 5. I keep mine on 1, and you definitely go faster than people on regular bikes. But if you had it on 0, you'd be a lot. You'd have a deficit because the bike is so heavy and it feels like you're riding a flat tire. So the brakes and the speeds are the same. There is a throttle on this one. It's like spring loaded. You can see how it took off. So if you're going up hills or you're crossing a street, it's really helpful to do that. And the light is built in right from this battery, so you don't have to worry about getting old batteries. There's a front and back light. Put it on so I can show you. That goes, I don't know if you can see is there a backlight going on? So that's it. I have a basket on mine. You know, I think maybe everybody in the league should get one, and then we do a bike club and we go once a week. So here we go.
Well, that was fun to meet Sophia, and I hope you're not playing any of those games when you're driving. I like the color on the car.
Oh, yeah.
I like that red. Well, gas stoves. We're looking at electric stoves, also with induction stovetops. Electric stoves are comparable in price. Electric ovens with induction stovetops are more expensive, but also more efficient. And they are a different way of heating. So with induction, the pan is heated directly. And so actually you need different types of pans and pots. But that obviously reduces the risk of burns, which is a real plus. It's a faster, more efficient way of cooking. And there is an issue with burning gas in your stove, producing nitrogen dioxide, which can be an issue for people with asthma and doesn't really contribute to health of anybody. Yeah, we're talking now about gas water heaters to heat pump water heaters. That's one thing that I was particularly interested in kind of looking into when I did my research. And I have decided that when my natural gas heater goes, that I'm going to get an electric heat pump water heater. What it does is it moves heat from the surrounding space into the hot water tank. And so in this case, you know, if you have your water heater in the basement, you're actually taking heat out of the air in your basement and moving it into the water heater. So if you, I have an open basement, so that's not an issue. If you had a water heater that was in a kind of a confined space, that could be an issue for you. Most operate as hybrid devices. So the heat pump is used whenever possible, but they have beat-in controls so you can switch to resistance heating if you really need it. They're very efficient. The energy factor ratings are greater than 2, which means they're 200% efficient. And one advantage is they also dehumidify, which is a kind of a plus. And especially for me, I have a kind of a damp basement. There's also electric on-demand water heaters, tankless water heaters. So that's an option too. It might be a good option for you. In that option, you basically, the device heats water as it's passing through the unit. And so there's no tank. So it eliminates all the standby energy losses that come from a storage tank. Now, electric tankless units tend to be smaller and more limited in flow than gas. So when you do your research, that's something to consider, that, you know, the typical electric tankless unit may not have enough capacity for you. You might need to get a couple. You might get need a bigger one, and maybe increase your electric panel. So that's why we're suggesting people research these things early, just so you can kind of see what some of the issues are and kind of give it some thought. Now we're going to talk about air source heat pumps, which have become very popular. throughout the Midwest now. Maine is which is definitely a northern state. The heat pump market there is going crazy. Now, heat pumps provide both heating and cooling, which is a real plus. And it works by transferring heat, from the outside air. In this case, unlike the water heater, you're actually taking heat from outside. And now they have new cold weather units, basically, that can extract heat when temperature is as low as -15 degrees, which is kind of amazing. But they've developed the technology to the point that basically you can use these new cold weather air source heat pumps in northern climates, and they are efficient, 175 to 300% efficiency. And we're going to have Ron Bergman, who's with Meridian Plumbing now, tell us a little more about air source heat pumps.
Hi, John. Thanks for having me. I would like to talk to you about some air source heat pumps that we've done a lot of work with over the years, and they're becoming more and more popular. It's really a simple concept. All we're doing is simply transferring heat from one place to another. In this case, we're removing it from the home through heat extraction via refrigerant and simply displacing it to the outside. And you're right, these things are becoming more and more efficient as time goes on. It's really impressive, the low ambient temperatures that they're capable of operating in. Now, at this point in our climate, we still have to kind of keep in mind that we do see fairly low temperatures below that threshold. So of course, backup heat is still necessary, similar to the heat pump water heaters you were referring to earlier. But as time goes on, of course, and especially out here in rural areas, such as where I live, being on propane and fuel oil, those are just, all the more reason to go for more of an electric driven system over fuel oil.
Thanks, Ron.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
Thank you, Ron. One thing to give some thought to, Ron had mentioned about the backup heat. And so I've been kind of pushing people to don't replace anything until something breaks. But one of the advantages, obviously, with the air source heat pumps is you're providing both heating and cooling. And so if your air conditioner goes, but you still have an older furnace, a natural gas furnace, you may want to consider replacing your air conditioner with an air source heat pump. And then you have your natural gas furnace still as a backup in case for those really cold days. You can use the heat pump as your primary source for heating. But then again, if it gets super cold, you can use your natural gas furnace if it's still operational. And now we're going to talk about a different type of heat pump. Geothermal heat pumps, again, we're moving heat around, but in this case, we're moving heat from the earth. And of course, there's more constant temperatures in the earth. And as you can see from the chart, you can have either vertical loops or horizontal loops in order to kind of exchange the heat with the earth. Now, these are really efficient because of the constant temperature, not constant, but the fairly steady temperatures of the earth. So they can be 300 to 600% efficient. Now, they are more expensive because you basically are paying for all those kind of loops, and that does cost a significant amount of money. And now we're going to have Marion Gordon, who's a member of the League of Women Voters and has installed a geothermal heat pump to talk a little about that.
Yeah, thanks, John. About 10 years ago, we had electric heat in our home. We could see that the price of electricity during the winter was shooting up pretty quickly. So we looked into geothermal heating, and we sit on 10 acres of land and have a ranch-style house. So it was a pretty easy thing to have a 600-foot trench dug in our backyard. And so we have a closed loop system like you see pictured in in John's slide. We get our heating and air conditioning. We did not have air conditioning in our home, so we got the added benefit of getting heat and air conditioning. Plus, as John said, water heating with the heat pump, and also some dehumidifying, which makes us comfortable year round. So that it's been really a good thing for us. We've had really no mechanical problems. The people who did it, we used Doty Mechanical, was our the installation company, and they did a really good job of putting it in, and we have them come once a year to check out our system. And it was expensive, and because we had electric heat, we didn't even have ducts in our house. So we had to have heat ducts put in the basement. Another thing I forgot to mention was we also didn't have, with electric heat, because it was so expensive, we didn't have heating in the basement. We have a full basement, but it was not heated. So we got that benefit as well. And the biggest benefit we got was a 30% tax break from the federal government. So it was a good time to do it, and it was, as I said, expensive for us because we had to have all the ductwork installed as well. But we've been really satisfied with it, and it keeps us comfortable. And the only time there is an electric backup, if we get a windy night and 0 temperatures, sometimes I'll hear the electric backup come on, and then I go to the thermostat and shut it down a little bit, because it drives me crazy to know that I'm paying for electric heat again. So. We also, one other thing that you might be interested in, we have a 2-zone system. So we have an added 18 by 24 foot family room that's on zone 2, which we can turn off and only heat it minimally because with the geothermal, because we have a wood stove out there. So it's even more efficient for our home because we have that option of just shutting off one room if we want to. Or we can, heat it minimally at night and then heat it up the rest of the way with our stove. So it's been a great move for us. And if you have any questions, about how we've been happy with it, I'd be happy to answer them later. Thanks, John.
Thank you, Marion. One thing to consider too is that, and this is true for solar too, but certainly true for geothermal, it's big investment, but it's increasing the value of your home. And so that's unlike a lot of things which wear out over time, those pipes in the ground basically are going to be there for a long time. And so that is basically one way to consider it is it's an investment in your home and increasing the value of your home. Clothes dryers to electric dryers. Gas clothes dryers typically cost about $100 more than an electric model. But natural gas prices are still pretty inexpensive. And so it's very likely that a gas clothes dryer is probably less expensive to operate. Of course, prices of natural gas most likely will be going up too. And, you do go to an electric dryer, you do want to look for Energy Star certified dryers, which use about 20% less energy.
No kidding. Can we have, we'll see what kind of a salesman you are. Okay. So how many of these items that John has been talking about, he looks like a car salesman, might you buy to replace your gas fueled versions over the next 15 years? Okay. 1 or 2, 3 or 4, 5 or 6, 7 or 8, 9 or 10. There we go. Look at that. Oh, hey, I think, well, let's see, you're not too bad of a salesman. There we go.
Well, Donna, I think you're the car salesperson.
Well, my father was one. I come by it dishonestly. Oh, look at that. Okay, they're going to do that. You can, you know, I love buying electric things. I just love it. I can't begin to tell you what joy it gives me to spend my children's inheritance on this. Okay, so how'd you do? Look at that. Look at they're gonna buy. We are gonna save the economy all by ourselves. Okay.
Well, the last thing we're going to talk about is yard equipment, because there's a lot of electric models now to replace gasoline models. And just to give you a sense about the pollution that comes from gas versions, a commercial leaf blower running for an hour can produce as many pollutants as driving a 2017 Camry at 1,100 miles, which is kind of boggles the mind. But battery tools now are now as powerful and effective as their gas counterparts. One nice thing is you don't have to deal with gas and oil and storage and changes. Practically no maintenance. It's reliable and simple, and they're only about half as noisy. And I believe that.
Oh yes, we do, John.
You have a video.
You know what? You know what we have, John? We have someone that wants to take over for me, being the funniest person in the league. So,
hard to imagine.
Well, I think she's got me beat, but don't tell her.
Hello, I'm Laura Rogers, and this is my electric tiller, Tilly. She's an AVIX 10 amp, 13-inch garden tiller and cultivator. Got my little handy dandy instruction manual here. I've done it before, so. And I also would like to point out, before I introduce you to Tilly and what she can do, I'd like to thank my camera woman and awesome sister, Amy.
Hi.
For filming this for us. I'm thanking her now, but I'm not sure if I'm gonna regret that or not. Anyway, this is an electric tiller. I've got it plugged in to the outside of my garage. Amy, you can pan over there if you want. My messy garage. You can see where it's plugged in. Wait, I haven't plugged it in yet. Hold that thought. Here I am, plugging it in. It always helps to plug it in. Just your standard outdoor outlet. And so to start Tilly, what I would do is I would press the button here first, and then squeeze this trigger. Then what I would do is just slowly walk forward and let Tilly do her job. But before I do that, I need to lift up the wheels on the bottom. So we just pull out this knob and lift up. Locks into place, and now we're ready to go. It'll get loud. So I'll just do a little demo, and we'll see where we go from there. So you can see, uh-oh, there's a worm. Don't worry, he's okay. You can see that it tills about, if you go over back and forth a few times, you can get as deep as about 7 or 8 inches. But as you can see, it tills some nice loose soil right there. Perfect for planting. And when you're done tilling, you can actually sprinkle your fertilizer and go over it, and it'll kind of cultivate that fertilizer into the soil. Yeah, me and Tilly, we've had some good times together. Behold my beloved garden. All because of the electric tiller. Thank you very much. We'll see you later.
Midwest power right now.
Okay, good. That's what we were looking for. So this is all the quiet. This is all the louder it is. Now it's not cutting grass, obviously.
Yeah.
But what this does, this will go through and bump into things, whether it be like a tree stump or a child's bicycle. It'll just bump and go back the other way. Now, if you had some plantings out in your yard, let's say you had a water feature in your yard, you could put a wire around it so it's going to stop. I think my battery's just ran out.
What are the wires for?
The wires help keep it contained. Similar to like a dog fence. You know how you can keep your dog in the yard? Well, this works on the same premise. So we put a wire in the ground. It's about 2 or 3 inches beneath the surface of the ground. And that line will disappear after just a couple weeks. But it takes about an hour, maybe an hour and a half to install in most typical yards. So you have complete control with your phone. There's an app on your phone. You can tell it when to start and when to stop. You can set it on a timer so you can actually have it operate during the times of need. Some people have it operated on the overnight. Some people have it operate during times, like during the daytime hours. Whatever you choose to do, it's really up to you. So it's a really nice system. This is basically a unit that's in operation right now. This is a unit that's currently mowing. On the app on your phone, it'll show you the current state of affairs in the way of how much charge is left, what the cutting height is. And if you wanted to see where the unit is, all you have to do is press the map icon, and it shows you where it's at physically in your own property. So this is one of my clients right now. This is working on their farm. They've got 2 units. It's taking care of their homestead. All the red lines show where that unit's been over the last 20 minutes to a half an hour. And if you sit there and look at this long enough, you'll see this unit move. But if you ever had a question as to where it's at, if you wanted to go retrieve it, all you do is look at your map and you can go find your unit. Right. If you wanted to, you can tell it to stop, or you can tell it to pause. Let's say you have unexpected company come, all you have to do is hit the pause button and it'll stop the mower. If you want to tell the mower to park itself, all you do is hit the park button and it'll go back to its charging base until you tell it to go back to work.
Terrific.
Pretty neat. In the way of general maintenance for such a system like this, the only thing you have to worry about is switching out razor blades. The razor blades are like $1.50 per each. So you figure about $4 to $5 to do a switch out, where units such as this, your razor blades are about $20 each. So you're about $60 just for the blade itself. And general maintenance for this, in the way of an oil change filter, is about $200. There is no general maintenance on this. So that makes it quite nice.
Start?
Yeah.
So it's real easy to start. It's really lightweight. The battery's already charged. I push this green button, pull back the handle. Here we go.
All very interesting, and you can tell what people like the spotlight and what people don't.
Wow, I like that mower. But you know, I see there seems to be a trend here. Is everybody naming their appliances and cars now? Is that the latest trend?
Oh yeah, that's it. Absolutely.
Okay, just checking. Okay, I have to think up some names for my electric snowblower. Call my snowblower. Okay, this is my last slide. So what now? Okay, you've seen these fascinating videos and these impressive car salespeople, and now we never want to forget efficiency. You want to make your home as energy efficient as possible. Consider solar for your roof or yard. Consider getting an EV, I certainly am. And research electric alternatives to natural gas and gasoline. So if that furnace or hot water heater goes on the blink, you're ready to, you've already decided kind of what you want to do.
Before we go into our question and answers, we've got a couple of questions for the group here. One is, have you had a professional energy audit of your residence done? Oh, look at that. Huh. What a sincere group. Okay. I'm going to end the poll in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and you can see the results. And wow, 11. That's high. I haven't gotten one because I'd have to clean my house. And let's do one more. We're gonna go rooftop solar. Do you see rooftop solar in your future? There you go. Yeah, I'm looking at it myself. Great. Okay. And share results. And I think I'm gonna wait until the end for the last poll. Okay. And so continue with for questions now, right? Where do we have questions? Laura's in charge. Laura.
Absolutely.
Laura.
Hi there. Yes, I'll tell you what, an incredible presentation like that elicits lots of good questions, and that's exactly what we have. So before I launch in, how much time do we have? Because we've got a really cool amount of questions, very good questions.
It's 7:53 right now.
Okay.
So we have 8 minutes.
No pressure, here we go. All right, the first question I noticed was, how much of natural gas is produced by fracking?
That's a good question. I don't know the exact percentage, but increasingly natural gas is coming from fracking operations. But I don't have any of the statistics. But fracking for natural gas has become very popular and common.
Yeah. Okay. We also have, how do I get an energy audit if I'm not a natural gas utility customer?
Well, I believe you can get energy audits from your electric utility, but also if that's not an option, you know, Michigan Saves, that's Michigan Saves, you can Google Michigan Saves, which provides financing, and they have a very good contractor list for anything you'd want to do with respect to energy, whether you want to put in a solar system or a heat pump or get an energy audit. And so that's an option too, if you want to hire somebody to do an energy audit for you. But first I would check whoever your electric and gas utility is and see whether they're offering free energy audits.
All right. Okay, next one is, I have the green generation 100% from Consumers Energy. Is that as good as having solar panels on my house?
Well, it's just a different way of getting green energy. You know, the program with Consumers Energy, and it's a good program for certain people, but you're actually ended up paying more for the green energy than what you normally pay for your electricity. When you put a solar system on your roof or backyard, you're making an investment that's going to pay for itself in about 10 years. And so then you'll have, you know, the panels will last 25, 30 years. So you'll pay it off in about 10 years, increase the value of your home, and then in one sense have free electricity for another 15, 20 years. But that, you know, for some folks, they may not have a good site for solar. And really the Consumers Energy Program might be a good option in order to kind of promote renewable energy.
All right. Next one up is, how should one decide between a heat pump water heater and a tankless water heater?
Yeah, actually, I just went through this thought process myself. And it depends on your situation, of course. That's always, that's why we talked about both alternatives, because a tankless might be your best option, or a heat pump water heater might be your best option. I went with the heat pump water heater because I was concerned about the flow rate from the tankless water heaters. All the research I had done indicated that it could be an issue, and so I just decided to kind of go with the heat pump water heater. And then I found out in my research also that it could help dehumidify the basement, which I certainly could use. So that's my decision. But again, a tankless one might be a good choice for you. For example, I had mentioned in the slide that if you have your water heater in an enclosed space, or if you have a low ceiling, the heat pump water heater may not work very well or may not fit. And so in that case, a tankless water heater might be your best choice.
Right. Okay. And we have a couple of questions on the electric vehicles. Would insurance costs be generally lower on electric vehicles?
They are not.
What?
They're not. Oh. I haven't found it to be true with me, but
one of the things is that they're expensive to repair sometimes, and so my insurance went up, but the value of my car went up. So I don't know if it's not. My car is I mean, after the rebate was, and you can probably get it for that now, it was about a little over 50 grand. Okay, it was 62 grand, but I got money back, so about 52 grand. I got a high range one. I mean, I didn't get the superpower. I really didn't feel like I needed to go 0 to 60 in 2 seconds. And it's all-wheel drive, and the sound system is very enjoyable. But that's an expensive. This is a relative. The 3 is affordable, but it's not really expensive as electric cars go. You can get them for about 30 grand, 35 grand now. So and those may not be as expensive as the insurance might not be as high, because they don't go as fast as a Tesla. I mean, if I wanted to take my Tesla up to 150, 60 miles per hour, I could. I've only had it at up to 110 so far.
That's a no-no. Okay. And Donna, this one might be for you too. Does your game mechanism work on your Tesla when you're driving?
Nope.
That's good. All right.
It's really, okay. It's there for a reason. I mean, it's a spoofy reason. Of course, Elon is a little nuts, but if you're on the road and charging at, not at your home, when I charge at my house, I charge overnight at my home. I don't spend any time filling the gas. I just plug it in and go to sleep. But when I am on the road, I usually am eating, but if I wasn't eating, I could play video games while I was waiting, or surf the internet or something like that. That's what it's for.
Okay. And Donna, I've read that a lot of times now the fast chargers they're putting at good locations with respect if you want a donut or a coffee.
Oh, right.
Have lunch, right? They're being strategic, and fast chargers apparently 15 minutes, but you can go in, have a cup of coffee, have lunch. Has that been your experience?
Yeah, it has been my experience. In fact, so it's near a place where you can eat. And I thought, I'd have time for lunch when I was eating. And if you stay like longer than 10 minutes after it's charged, you pay for staying there because somebody else could be charging it, so there's a disincentive to park there. And I put like 180 miles on my car before I finished lunch. And I said, no, this is too fast, I mean, It actually takes less time than for a gas car, because normally every 2 hours you stop because because you're 74 years old and you have to stop, so you stop, and then you get a cup of coffee, and then you get back in the car, and then and maybe get something to eat, and then you fill up the gas. Okay, so while I'm doing all those things that I would normally do in my stop, my car is being charged. So it's actually less time.
Excellent. And then
probably 1 or 2. It's 8:02 now, so
we're done at 8:15, right?
8:15, is that it? Whatever. Okay.
Is that it? Okay. So this was a comment. Could we give more like solid information, maybe like studies or fact sheets, or somewhere where we can find some scientific information on electric cars in general? That might be for you, John.
Well, actually, with respect to all the cars and all the equipment we talked about, there's a tremendous amount of information on the web, the internet. And so, of course, when you go on the internet, you want to make sure the source you're going to is reliable. And so, and you have to be, information obviously from somebody selling a product, you have to, keep that in mind. But there's a lot of federal sources, state sources, nonprofit sources of good information that, kind of review the various products and make suggestions, give you advice on things to consider when you're buying. And we do have some information at the Meridian Township's website, which basically provides some links with all these categories of appliances and equipment. And I believe that's going to be sent out to you after this webinar, various links that can help you. But boy, you can find a lot of information just by, do a Google. But again, be careful what your source of information is.
Elaine and I actually participated in a webinar that was done by California that was really, really cool. And they went through all the different kinds of cars, and they had prices on them. And I was some of the Korean cars are very good, and they're not any more money than my Prius.
All right. Next question is, I'm interested in using portable solar panels for charging electronic devices and household batteries. Do you have any recommendations for informational resources?
Oh boy, I don't have any specific resources to suggest. Again, I would just kind of Google it and be careful what the source of the information is. But there is a lot of good products out there for, if you want to go camping or just charge something remotely. I mean, solar's been around since the 1970s or even before that. So there's a lot of equipment that has a lot of experience. But
all right. Next question. Could buying electric implements now be harmful, given that utility companies don't yet have sufficient renewable energy?
Well, now that's a good question. And, it does, to some extent, depend on who your utility is. And so it's something to kind of consider because I showed you what consumers and the Lansing Board of Water and Light is planning. But because they're planning to kind of move in a significant way to renewable sources, it doesn't mean that your rural co-op might not be. So that's the first step, I guess, to kind of think through whether this is a good idea, is who's your utility and what at least are their plans. But then you have to kind of consider, okay, I've got this hot water heater. It's 100% natural gas now. It's going to last hopefully 10 years, 15 years. Okay, the whatever electricity I'm getting from consumers' energy, it's small now, but it's going to increase every year over the next 15 years.
Mm-hmm.
So if you think in terms of how much natural gas you're using, it's getting better and better. Now, if you have a solar panel on your roof or your backyard, of course, you can kind of think in terms that it's 100% renewable energy for whatever your electric devices are, depending on how much solar panels you have. And so that's one way to look at it too, is that you can get the solar, and then whatever these electric devices are, whether it's an EV or a lawnmower or air source heat pump, your solar can be powering them.
Okay. Next question. Conserving means choosing to use less. So even with high efficiency heating and cooling equipment, lowering your thermostat in winter reduces costs without any investment. There's loss of wasted energy in manufacturing new stuff. So when does it make sense to repair rather than replace?
Well, that's an excellent question. And, we maybe haven't even emphasized enough. We mentioned it a couple of times that efficiency and conservation is first on your list. Okay. And it was funny when my daughter was asked the question, what did she learn from her parents? She said, well, I learned good grammar from my mom, and I learned from my dad to turn off the lights. Because when you think about it, there's the economics of turning off the light are very good, and the environmental benefits are very significant. And so, efficiency and conservation first, for sure, always.
Great. All right. To get information about tax benefits for buying energy efficient appliances and the like.
Yeah, the Desire website, which is DSIRE, if you Google Desire, I think that's the best source for information about what tax credits are available from the federal government and your state and even utilities. So whenever people ask about the latest information on tax credits, this is a nonprofit down in North Carolina that maintains a national database. So you can just Google DSIRE and then energy, and the website will come up, and you'll probably find some very good information about tax credits that are available or other incentives, rebates, whether it's efficiency or solar or anything. It's very comprehensive.
All right. Do we have time for one more, maybe?
Yep.
I think so. All right. Can the heat pump, water heaters, the geothermal heaters, and the air source heat pumps work efficiently with homes without basements?
Yeah, I don't see any reason why they can't. I think the only thing that if you don't have a basement, you have to wonder about for the water heater is, again, it's if you have your water heater in an enclosed space, it may not be able to work efficiently because it's basically drawing heat from your air. And if your basement gets a little cooler, I don't see that as a big deal. But if you basically have your water heater in a closet somewhere, that's probably an issue. But for the geothermal or the air source heat pumps for heating and cooling, because again, you're getting the heat from outside or transferring the heat to the outside, yeah, you don't need a basement.
Okay, I lied when I said there was only one more. Now there's only one more.
This is it. We have to wrap up.
Okay. So that electric Roomba mower thing that was moving around like that, what's the average acreage that you can do for one charge? Or would that be a good question for the person who did that? All right, never mind.
Okay. Yeah, that you have to
be determined.
Google that. That's details. Okay,
or do an experiment.
I want to find out how much people learned today, if anything. So did you? Okay, I learned a couple things. Oh.
I learned that you're a good car salesperson. And that Laura's got a nice garden.
Well, it's that's great. I'm just going to go 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, end poll. And it looks like you shared something good, John. Let me I'll close up for the league. First of all, thanking John, who is so knowledgeable and just and fun to work with and very helpful, and he's just active in all kinds of things. He's certainly making the world a better place. And thank you to this incredible environmental action group who are eager. And I'll tell you what, guys, I have a very busy job, but I continue to go to the eager meetings because I find them inspiring, and they work their little tails off. And and here's the thing about the League of Women Voters: we vote because voting is sacred and it's a privilege in a democracy, but we also vote so that policies that we believe in become the law of the land. And the environmental group exists to teach people about those policies, and that's an important thing as a part of the League of Women Voters. So thank you all. Thank you for everything that you've done. Thanks a lot to you, John. So long, everybody.